The chill of the night settled around the dimly lit Wendy's, its fluorescent lights flickering ominously, casting distorted shadows that danced across the empty restaurant. Inside, the last employees were cleaning up, the dull hum of machines punctuating the silence. The clock ticked slowly towards closing time as Sara tossed the last of the discarded wrappers into the trash, her thoughts drifting away from the mundane routine of her shift. Sara, a resilient young woman in her late 20s, had always prided herself on her ability to handle the chaos of fast food life fast. But tonight was different. The eerie stillness, coupled with her growing discomfort around Dylan Haar, co-worker known for his inappropriate comments, wrapped around her like an unwelcome shroud. Did you hear about that guy who got aggressive after hours last week? Cadence, another employee, remarked as they wiped down the counter. I swear, this place attracts the worst people. Sara shuddered at the thought. She kept her head down, pretending to focus on her work. But the shadowy parking lot loomed outside. Lurking darkness seemed to whisper her fears back at her met. As the clock inched closer to midnight, the employee chatter faded into the background. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the drive-thru. The employees exchanged confused glances as they rushed outside, where they were met with an absurd scene. Joshua James and a few others laughed uncontrollably as they threw a live alligator into the drive-thru chuffrit area. Chaos erupted, prompting everyone to rush to help control the mayhem. In the frenzy, the momentary distraction pulled Sara away from Dylan, who had been approaching her with a sly smile. The incident subsided quickly, leaving Sara rattled and confused. Dylan's gaze lingered too long on her before the night ended, a predatory look that made her skin crawl. Later, as she walked to her car, she found him waiting outside. You know, you're pretty cute when you're scared, Sara Dylan said, stepping closer. Sara's heartbeat raced as she fumbled for her keys, wishing she could disappear into the ground. The looming darkness of the parking lot seemed to close in, and just before she could speak, a commotion from the group behind her distracted him. The moment passed, but the unsettling feeling didn't. That night, Sara couldn't shake off Dylan's gaze, or the strange feeling that something wasn't right in this town. In the following nights, as they worked together, his harassment intensified. Each comment left her feeling pickled in dread, yet she hesitated to speak up. One day, battered with anxiety, she confided in Cadence after their shift. I don't know how to handle this anymore. It's getting worse. And I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm imagining things. Sara exclaimed, maybe we should go out for drinks, get your mind off things. You're not crazy. I'll stick with you tonight. Cadence offered her enthusiasm, a balm for Sara's weariness, and even that didn't ease the sinister feeling that had begun to settle deep within her bones. Later that night, as they sat in a nearby dive bar, a well-dressed man seemed to watch them from the corner, and a mysterious woman appeared and disappeared into the shadows around them, drawing uneasy glances from Sara. Each peculiar encounter intensified her feeling that danger was ever closer. When Sara discovered that her ancestral home in Ratnagiri held tragic ties to local urban legends about curses and hauntings, a rush of adrenaline surged through her veins. She cautiously shared this discovery with Cadence, who couldn't help but scoff at the notion, dismissing it as merely folklore. Yet for Sara, it brought a flicker of empowerment, the idea that understanding her past could illuminate her present. But with empowerment came consequences. Dylan's stalking behavior escalated. His presence now felt even outside work. Shadows began to stalk her home, as if the past weighed heavily upon her every step. Sara's superstitions transformed into a tangible reality. Vivid flashbacks enveloped her as she felt lost between generations. The feeling of her ancestors reaching for her, pleading for resolution, wrapped around her heavily. One night, frightened and desperate, Sara confronted Dylan. His unsettling grin met her brave face, but what he revealed shattered her courage. With eerie precision, she began to recite fragments of her family's tragic history, laughing as he detailed scars carried. Cadence stood her up when she needed support, leaving her feeling isolated in her fight, as if the darkness was indeed her only companion. On the verge of giving up, Sara returned home, haunted not only by Dylan's predatory nature, but also the pain of her ancestors. In her despair, she stumbled upon an old, dusty diary wedged deep in her family's forgotten chest. It detailed how her forebears confronted their curses, giving her newfound hope. The next shift brought fear and uncertainty, but Sara plunged in with the diaries, truths bolstering her. It was time to confront Dylan once and for all. A fight she now framed, not just for herself, but for all those who came before her. Her ancestors' support warmed her heart. Their whispers encouraged her to rise. The final confrontation unfolded at her ancestral home. Eerie shadows dancing in the twilight. Empress, the building loomed like a specter. Its ominous aura hummed with long-buried secrets. As she faced Dylan, the air crackled with supernatural tension. The remnants of her ancestors rallied around her, their power flowing through her veins, igniting a bravery she never knew she possessed. And supernatural elements entwined in real terror, echoes of forgotten screams filled the space. Finally, she unleashed the courage forged from the diary's lessons and her family's strength, facing down the tormentor who had escalated into her worst nightmare. The showdown cut through the darkness was not just battling Dylan, but generations of fear. As she stood over him, victorious, yet trembling, dawn broke over the ancestral home. A gentle light poured into the confines of shadows, yet the underlying hint of foreboding remained. No longer lost in the dark, a flicker of strength illuminated her spirit. In a bittersweet resolution, Sara glanced back, knowing that while shadows may linger, she was no longer afraid.